Story 1. The Creeping Darkness at Target. It was a typical Friday evening, and I found myself at Target, a haven for last-minute shoppers like myself. The store was buzzing with activity, with families and individuals roaming the aisles hunting for bargains and necessities. I had come to pick up some household items, and as I navigated through the crowd, I couldn't help but notice how the fluorescent lights created an illusion of safety and normal sight. As I made my way to the household goods section, my eyes caught a glimpse of something odd out of the corner. It was a flicker of darkness, almost like a shadow moving swiftly between the aisles. At first, I dismissed it as a trick of the light, but a sense of unease lingered. I continued my shopping, trying to shake off the feeling, but every so often, I caught fleeting glimpses of the darkness, darting from one spot to another. My heart rate quickened, and I couldn't ignore the eerie sensation that someone or something was watching me. As I approached the checkout counters, I couldn't help but mention my strange experience to the cashier, a friendly young woman named Sarah. "I know it sounds crazy, but I keep seeing these shadows moving around the store," I said, trying to sound nonchalant. Sarah's face turned serious, and she leaned in closer. "You're not the only one. Some of us who work here have noticed strange things happening too." My curiosity piqued. I asked her to elaborate. Sarah explained that several employees had witnessed unusual occurrences, like items inexplicably falling off shelves, unexplained footsteps in empty aisles, and a constant feeling of being watched. She mentioned a particular incident involving a night shift worker who heard whispers coming from the aisles when the store was empty. It had been so unsettling that the employee had requested a transfer to another department. My skin prickled with goosebumps as Sarah recounted these stories. I tried to rationalize it all, attributing the sightings to tired minds playing tricks on us. Yet the sense of unease continued to gnaw at me. Determined to understand what was happening, I decided to dig into the history of the Target store. I discovered that it had been built on the site of an old factory that had experienced a catastrophic fire decades ago, resulting in several fatalities. The tragic history sent a chill down my spine. Could the shadows be connected to the souls of those who had lost their lives in that fire? Curiosity mixed with apprehension, I returned to Target the following evening, armed with a small voice recorder. As I wandered through the store, I asked questions, hoping to capture any responses from the unknown presence. For a long time, I received only silence. The store appeared to be like any other bustling retail space. But just as I was about to give up, a faint whisper reached my ears through the recording. I replayed the audio, trying to decipher the words. It was a soft, mournful voice saying, "Leave. Darkness. Leave." The hairs on the back of my neck stood on end and my heart pounded in my chest. It was undeniable. Something was communicating with me. But what did it want? Why was it trapped in this store? Over the next few weeks, I returned to Target several times, drawn by the mystery of the shadows and the whispering voice. Each visit brought new encounters, with the darkness growing bolder in its movements. At times, I felt a cold breeze sweep past me, and other times, I heard faint footsteps trailing behind me. During one particularly chilling visit, I noticed a pattern to the shadows' movements. They seemed to converge around a particular area of the store, the spot where the factory fire had originated. It was as if the spirits were trapped in the memories of that fateful night, reliving their final moments. Filled with compassion, I sought advice from a local paranormal expert named Alex. With her guidance, I conducted an in-depth investigation, uncovering historical records and conducting seances to connect with the restless spirits. During one of these sessions, we made contact with a spirit named Emily, who had perished in the factory fire. Her presence was strong, and she conveyed a sense of pain and loss. "We can't move on," she whispered, her voice filled with sorrow. "We're bound to this place, trapped in the darkness." With Alex's help, we created a ritual to guide the spirits towards the light, releasing them from their eternal torment. We gathered at the heart of the store, the site of the tragic fire, and chanted incantations to break the chains that bound the spirit. A profound silence enveloped the store as the ritual reached its crescendo. Suddenly, the shadows seemed to withdraw, and a warm light bathed the area. It was as if a weight had been lifted, and the darkness that had plagued Target for years dissipated. Emily's voice echoed one final time. "Thank you." As I left Target that evening, I felt a sense of closure and relief. The creeping darkness had finally been vanquished, and the store was at peace once more. Target resumed its role as a vibrant retail space, and employees no longer reported strange occurrences. The memories of the shadows lingered, but the store had become a place of healing and release, a testament to the power of acknowledging the past and offering compassion to those who had suffered. Though I had delved into the unknown, I had also discovered a newfound appreciation for the power of empathy and the strength of human connection. The mystery of the shadows had led me on an unforgettable journey, teaching me that sometimes the scariest things were not supernatural entities, but the unhealed wounds of history that needed to be tended to with care and understanding. Story 2. The Stalker at Target. It was a quiet, moonlit night as I entered Target, searching for some last-minute essentials before a weekend getaway. The store was nearly empty, with only a handful of employees restocking shelves and a couple of customers roaming the aisles. As I strolled through the well-lit store, I felt a sense of comfort in its familiarity. I made my way to the clothing section, casually browsing through the racks of shirts and jeans. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a glimpse of a man standing a few feet away, staring intently in my direction. He was tall and wore a hoodie that concealed most of his face. I quickly brushed off the feeling of unease, telling myself that he was just another shopper. But as I moved to a different section, I noticed the man was following me. My heart rate increased, and I tried to shake off the growing anxiety. I convinced myself that it was just a coincidence, that he was shopping for similar items. Attempting to distract myself, I continued browsing, occasionally glancing over my shoulder to see if the man was still behind me. Each time I caught him watching, his eyes fixed on me with an unsettling intensity. My unease turned to fear as I realized that he wasn't shopping at all. He was stalking me. Determined to shake him off, I weaved through different sections of the store, changing my pace and direction. But no matter where I went, he was always a few steps behind, a shadow lurking in the periphery of my vision. I decided to confront him, hoping that a direct confrontation would make him back off. I turned and walked towards him, trying to appear confident despite my trembling nerve. "Is there something you need?" I asked firmly, trying to maintain a sense of control. He didn't respond, just continued to stare, his eyes unblinking and devoid of emotion. Panic gripped me, and I hurried away, seeking help from one of the employees. I found a store associate named Mark and quickly explained the situation, hoping he could intervene. Mark looked concerned and assured me that he would handle the situation. "I'll keep an eye on him and make sure he doesn't bother you again," Mark said with a reassuring smile. Feeling somewhat safer, I continued my shopping, keeping a close eye on the man and Mark. The stalker seemed to back off, disappearing into another section of the store. As I reached the checkout counters, I glanced around nervously, half expecting the man to reappear. But there was no sign of him. I paid for my items and headed towards the exit, grateful to leave the store. However, as I stepped outside, I saw the man standing near the entrance, his hood still pulled over his face. My heart sank, and I realized that he had been waiting for me to leave. Determined to escape, I turned around and went back inside, seeking the safety of the store and the presence of other people. I approached Mark again, explaining what had happened. "He's still out there waiting for me," I whispered, my voice trembling. Mark looked alarmed and quickly alerted security. He escorted me to a safe area in the store, and within minutes, 2 security guards approached the entrance to confront the stalker. As I watched from a distance, the guards approached the man, asking him to leave the premises. He didn't resist, but as he walked away, he turned and looked directly at me, a chilling smile spreading across his face. I shuddered, feeling a sense of dread that lingered long after he was gone. The security guards reassured me that they would keep an eye out for him and asked me to stay inside the store until they were sure he had left the area. After what felt like an eternity, they finally gave me the all clear to leave. I thanked Mark and the security team profusely for their help and with their assurance, I made my way home, still on edge. Over the next few days, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The incident had left me feeling vulnerable and afraid, even in the safety of my own home. I took extra precautions, checking my surroundings whenever I went out and avoiding going anywhere alone. I reported the incident to the police, but without any identifying information about the man. They couldn't do much. I was left to grapple with the fear that he could be watching me from a distance, waiting for another opportunity to strike. Months passed, and the fear slowly began to fade. I grew more cautious and vigilant, but I refused to let the stalker dictate my life. I took self-defense classes, installed security cameras at my home, and surrounded myself with supportive friends and family. Though the memory of that chilling night at Target would always haunt me, I had learned to be more aware of my surroundings and trust my instincts. I hope that by sharing my story, others would be reminded of the importance of staying safe and seeking help if they ever found themselves in a similar situation. The midnight stalker at Target had taught me a valuable lesson. That safety is never guaranteed, and sometimes danger can lurk where we least expect it. Story 3. The Midnight Encounter at Target. It was a chilly October night, and I found myself in Target, browsing through the Halloween decorations. The store was relatively quiet, with only a few late-night shoppers scattered among the aisles. I loved the thrill of shopping in the late hours, finding it oddly peaceful. As I roamed through the seasonal section, admiring the spooky displays, I noticed a strange figure in the distance. It was a woman, dressed in a flowing white gown that seemed out of place in the modern setting of the store. Her long, dark hair obscured her face as she stood motionless, gazing at the shelves. Curiosity got the better of me, and I approached cautiously, wondering if she needed help. But as I drew nearer, an eerie feeling crept over me. The air seemed to grow colder, and a sense of unease settled in my gut. I hesitated for a moment before calling out to her. "Are you all right?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The woman didn't respond, and I took a step back, suddenly feeling like an intruder in her world. The fluorescent lights flickered momentarily, and I glanced around, wondering if anyone else had noticed the strange occurrence. Feeling unnerved, I decided to move away from the woman and continue my shopping. As I rounded a corner, I saw another figure standing at the end of the aisle. This time, it was a man in a suit, his face obscured by shadows. My heart skipped a beat, and I tried to rationalize what I was seeing. Perhaps it was just my mind playing tricks on me, fueled by the Halloween atmosphere. But as I walked past the man, he turned to look at me, and I froze in terror. His eyes were empty, devoid of any emotion, and his presence felt oppressive. I forced myself to keep walking, trying to convince myself that it was all a figment of my imagination. As I made my way to the checkout counters, I noticed a sense of disarray around me. Shelves that had been neatly stocked just minutes ago were now in disarray, and products lay scattered on the floor. It was as if an unseen force had swept through the store, leaving chaos in its wake. I approached one of the employees, a young woman who seemed startled by the scene. "What happened here?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "I'm not sure," she replied, her eyes wide with concern. "We've been having some strange things happen lately. Shelves falling, lights flickering, and some of us have seen things." "Things?" I echoed, my heart pounding. She hesitated for a moment before continuing. "Some of us have seen figures like people, but they're not really there. It's been happening more and more, especially during the late night shifts." Her words sent a chill down my spine, confirming that I wasn't alone in witnessing these eerie occurrences. I paid for my items, my mind racing with questions and fear. What was happening in the store? Were there spirits lingering in the aisles, unable to find peace? I left Target that night, my heart heavy with unease. As I walked to my car, I glanced back at the store, wondering what secrets it held within its walls. I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd stumbled upon something otherworldly and unsettling. Over the next few days, I couldn't stop thinking about my encounter at Target. The strange figures, the unexplained phenomena, it all haunted my thoughts. I decided to research the history of the building, hoping to find some answers. To my surprise, I discovered that the location of the target had once been a site of significant historical events. It had been a hospital during the Civil War, treating wounded soldiers. Tragedy and death had marked those walls, leaving behind a lingering energy that some believed could manifest as paranormal activity. Armed with this knowledge, I returned to Target one evening, determined to confront whatever was haunting the store. I brought with me a small voice recorder and a flashlight, hoping to communicate with any spirits that might be present. As I entered the store, I felt a surge of nervous energy coursing through me. The familiar aisles seemed different now, imbued with an otherworldly presence. I made my way to the seasonal section where I had encountered the mysterious woman. "Is there anyone here?" I asked into the darkness, my voice echoing through the empty store. For a moment, there was only silence, and I wondered if I had made a mistake. But then a faint whisper reached my ears, sending shivers down my spine. The voice was soft and distant, as if struggling to make itself heard. "Help us." I froze, realizing that I was not alone. There were spirits here, trapped between worlds and seeking some form of release. Gathering my courage, I continued to ask questions, trying to understand their plight and offer comfort. As the night wore on, I felt a sense of connection with these restless souls. They had suffered during their time in the hospital, and their presence in the store was a reminder of the pain and sacrifice of the past. I vowed to honor their memory and help them find peace. Over time, with the help of paranormal experts, we conducted investigations to communicate with the spirits and understand their stories. With each interaction, the activity in the store diminished, and the restless souls seemed to find solace in being heard. As the years passed, Target became a place of fascination for paranormal enthusiasts. It became known as a site where the veil between the living and the departed was thin, where history and the present intertwined in haunting harmony. To this day, Target remains a place of intrigue and mystery for those who dare to venture into its late-night hours. The encounters with the other side have changed my perception of the world, reminding me that there are forces beyond our comprehension, lurking in the shadows, waiting to be acknowledged. And as the seasons change and Halloween draws near, the stories of the haunted Target continue to spread, capturing the imagination of those who wonder what lies beyond the tangible world we see before us.